Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gita Mary and today it's January. It's pissing cold here. I am actually snowed in currently, so I thought what better time, as I can't really do anything else right now. And also because it seems pretty topical, not just to me, but to many people. Let's talk about ways to save on your heating bill that's also going to benefit the planet. So here are 10 things that you can do to save on your heating bill while also being more environmentally conscious. See, a lot of the time you save money and you're sustainable. That's just the... Let's get started. Now, this is not going to surprise anybody, but turning down your heat can actually make a difference. I know. However, you can save approximately 5% of your heating bill if you turn down the temperature in your home by 1 degree Celsius. It's also often recommended that you turn down your heating ever so slightly when you're not home or at night. However, you shouldn't turn it completely off or turn it way down. Generally, it's recommended that your home is at least 19 degrees, because if we go to 18 degrees or lower, this is Celsius again, by the way, 18 degrees or lower and your home can develop mold. We don't want that. Also, turning your heating completely off and on again constantly throughout the week can actually also be more impactful than just having it on a moderately lower setting sometimes. Turning down your heat, but not too much. Also, sync the thermostat across all your radiators, if that's the way your home is heated. If all your radiators are synced, you can use the heating in a more effective way. If you prefer, let's say, your bedroom to be warmer than your living room or your bathroom, if you want to turn the heat up, then close the door and isolate that room. Otherwise, all that heat is just gonna piss out into the rest of the house. And again, very ineffectively, very inefficiently, and a very expensive and unsustainable way of heating your home. So isolate any room you want warmer than the rest of the house. I wasn't always aware that this made a difference, but close your curtains at night because, once again, your heat is just pissing out your window. I need to stop saying pissing. Just at any point in time, someone stop me. However, your curtains can actually function as a layer of insulation in your home. So closing your curtains will actually make your rooms heat faster and more effectively. It's just a really easy thing that everyone can do. It doesn't require any big new thermostats, any new fancy insulation, just small things that we can do. This is sort of what we're after. Because otherwise, I guess the only tip would be move into something that's more energy efficient, and that would be it. But that's not everyone's choice now, is it? So my apartment, for instance, is from the 30s. The building is from the 30s. And while it has been renovated, I can still definitely feel that I'm in an older apartment. And that's gonna make it less energy efficient than a new apartment. That's just the way it is. It doesn't make sense to tear down every old building. That would also be tragedy. So it's nice to know that there are ways that we can make our homes more energy efficient, even the ones that are of older date. She's an old girl, this one. You can also think about ventilating your home without wasting heat. So don't leave doors or windows open for extended periods of time, but do it in smaller intervals. Ventilate for 5 to 10 minutes, 2 times a day. That's definitely gonna be enough, but don't leave your windows open all day if it's the colder months or you're generally just colder during the evening. You can preserve that heat by ventilating more consciously. Now, this is one of my favorites. I have been doing this since always, and especially during the winter. Now, I don't have any radiator or other heat source in my kitchen, so this is the only thing that's there anyway. But heat your home with your oven. And by that, I simply don't mean turn on your oven and open the oven door and then let that be it. But if you're using your oven anyway, then open your oven to use that heat to heat up your kitchen. I have very rarely seen an older apartment in Denmark where there actually is radiators or heating systems in the kitchen. It's just not something that's being done. So the kitchen is always really cold. And using your oven, opening it up when you're using it anyway, or after you've used it, obviously, and turned it off specifically. But that excess heat you can actually utilize. So, like, it's energy you're paying for anyway, so you might as well use it while it's there. You can also check out if your windows are sealed. You can check if your windows are closed tightly enough to keep outside air out by closing the window with a piece of paper. If you pull the paper and it slips right back out, the window is not closed tightly enough and the air is getting in. This can either be remedied by small home DIYs, or it might be time to change the window if you live in a house where you can actually do that. Now, I say this every single time I talk about preserving resources and energy and heat, etc. in your home, but wear warmer clothes before you turn up the heat. There's absolutely no need to be able to sit in a tank top in your home in December, January. I just don't think that's necessary. Put on a jumper. Be cool. Come on. And there are other ways of staying warm as well. Blankets, first of all. Now I have a specific duvet for my couch. So whenever I'm watching anything on my couch, I have a duvet in here as well. But I also have blankets, many of them. You can also make warm beverages to keep yourself warm. And specifically when you're making coffee or tea, use a kettle rather than using a pot on your stove. Using a kettle saves a lot of energy, by the way, off topic, than using your pot and the stove, and you're getting the same result and you're staying nice and warm. Okay, so these are also some of the things you can do. Now I want to mention this, but it comes with a massive but. Light candles. Now lighting candles can be a really easy way of getting some ambiance, some coziness, and they also help with the temperature in your room. However, there are other issues with candles. For instance, the fact that they absolutely pollute the air quality. They make the air quality so bad. So while I will say it's a tip in terms of how to preserve the temperature and the heat, definitely a tip in that regard, but it's not a perfect solution, and I wouldn't do this as my only way of doing something extra. Absolutely not. There's also the notion that a lot of candles, the vast majority, especially the ones you can find in conventional stores and supermarkets, are made with paraffin wax, which is a byproduct from the fossil fuel industry. You do not want to light tons of these in your home. It's simply just not good to breathe in. See how you got caught sort of in a do this, however, perhaps don't. I think it goes to show that there's a lot of things that are good in one direction that's really bad in another direction. I wanted to mention it also so I had a chance to talk about paraffin wax. Moving on. Something to think about is also looking at whether or not your bigger pieces of furniture are restricting the heat flow. Especially big couches or cabinets, etc. If they're placed in front of radiators or other types of heating systems, the heat cannot flow undisturbed throughout your home and thus won't be as effective. So make sure that there is proper heating flow so you get the most out of your heating systems. If you live in an older home, like me, you might very well have air leaks here and there. It's basically impossible to avoid, but you can minimize a lot of them with quick, small fixes. So the way that you check for an air leak is that you place your hands on electrical outlets, doors, windows, etc. And if you feel or hear cold air coming through, you can fix it very easily or get a professional to do so. Some of the fixes are grand and big and won't be realistic for you, especially if you rent like me. Other fixes are smaller and something you can actually do yourself. However, knowing where the leaks are, where they're coming from, can be quite beneficial, especially if you know that there's a leak in the living room, then keep the door closed to the rest of the home. I don't know, we're trying to do something here, and with inflation, with the cost of living, with the cost of rent, I want to get as much as possible out of the heating that I'm using during the winter. It often gets very expensive because Denmark can get quite cold. Not as cold as Norway or Sweden or Finland by any chance, but cold enough that it makes me uncomfortable. I am definitely more of a summer type of person. So I want to do everything I can to make sure that at least something is happening so that I get the most out of my heating. So I don't end up with a massive bill that also takes a big toll on the planet. That was 10 things that you can do. Let me know if you have done any of these things or if there are any of these things that you would like to do and probably about to do now. Let me know if this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. By the way, I am thinking about doing a similar video like this with the 10 things to do, etc., for electricity and for water consumption. Let me know if that's something you want to see as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green, zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!